Hi, Lauren here. Let's mark this moment as your sign to slow down. At present, I'm looking out on beautiful mountains. I have a cup of tea. Life is good. It's not perfect. There are flaws. There are problems. There is loss. But right now, in this moment, I can look out and I see the clouds and the amazing shape of the clouds. And I see the shadows of the clouds dance upon the hills, almost as if there is a waltz between the sky and the ground beneath. Joy is found in the space between the words. Joy is experienced in the space between events. Love is experienced when we pause in a relationship. As animals, we keep moving. We keep dancing. As joyful beings, we pause and experience the dance without using words. There is a Buddhist saying where a monk is teaching, a mentor is teaching a up-and-coming monk how to experience joy. And they go to see the sunset over the ocean. And the monk says, "What a beautiful sunset." And the mentor monk, says, "You have failed." Because as soon as we focus on the enunciation of the words, we lose the moment in time. I've spoken quite a bit recently about cadence in speech, cadence in life, cadence, speed, rhythm, and exploring ourselves, getting to know ourselves is realized only when we stop. We focus so much on understanding our childhood, understanding our trauma, processing loss. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of life. Each of us walks an individual journey, and unpacking a trauma or unpacking a loss or exploring meaning is part of that journey. Loss, self-exploration is part of the journey of life. But the true meaning of life, of our lives, comes from considering other people's meaning. What will we do to contribute to the meaning of others? What will we do to be of service? What will we do to help? This is an ongoing learning. I haven't learnt that lesson. I'm learning that lesson. Each day when I arise, I relearn that lesson. Sometimes I learn it well, and sometimes it's a work in progress. Each moment we may attempt to sit in a present, but our attempts to sit in the present can only evolve from our understanding of the past. So to truly sit in the present is impossible. But it's the act of working towards sitting in the present that gives us worth. We move towards detachment, yet as humans we are attached by nature. It is our movement towards detachment and having perspective that helps to give us worth. There is no freedom. As human beings that live in service to others, we compromise our sense of self so that others may gain some sense of self. It is a balance. Freedom is a state we work towards, yet if we want to belong to society, we're never going to truly attain peace, freedom, and that's okay. The boundaries are always moving. Our experience is always new. We are not a particular sense of self. We are not a particular person. We are ever evolving, ever shifting, ever fluid. At times, clients may say to me, "But this is who I am." No, it's not. Every moment holds the promise of change. Every new day heralds a new day, a new sunrise, a new sunset. And with that, there are biological changes, there are hormonal experiences, there are learnings, there are losses. We are never the same. It is illogical for us to claim, "I am who I am. Let me be who I am." Does time stand still? Does change stop? Does the world stop revolving? We are ever evolving, whether we want to evolve or perhaps we may not want to evolve. The clock is ticking. The world is turning. There is no hiding under the metaphorical blanket of life. Don't you love that thought? I love as a child, I used to hide under my blanket and just think, "Oh my goodness, can this go away?" I remember particular times in my life when I've hidden under a real blanket or a metaphorical blanket. I remember when my brother died and identifying him in the morgue, and I thought, this doesn't happen. You don't identify your brother in the morgue. This just can't happen. It happens. Or when my husband of years ago left me, I just thought, I can't be divorced. This can't happen. He can't really be leaving. And my brain would think, or my mind would think, this is too horrible. Or I might think something like, I don't deserve this. This is unfair. This is not right. In life, sometimes events occur that are not right, that are unfair, that are irrational, that are absurd, that are tragic, that are adverse. And these things happen. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to say, life's unfair, that's not right? Perhaps there are times to give up the need to be found right. There are times in life where one person or a group of people may completely not see you, may judge you in a way that is so wrong, so unfair, possibly illegal, immoral, unethical. And it happens. You may have your stories. What do we do with these stories? Do we walk around saying, that's so unfair, that's so unfair? Yeah, it's so unfair. So what? When I say so what, I sound a little bit harsh, don't I? A little bit ruthless. What are our options? To ruthlessly live or to die, to hide, to fall in some self-pitying state? I don't believe it is wrong to feel self-pity. There are times and places during which it is appropriate to feel self-pity. Lick your wounds, sit on the ground, do a little bit of a froggy, as my mum would say, when we used to fall on the ground. But then we get back up. Why do we get back up? Because we have the gift of breath. Why do we get back up? Because others are relying upon us. Why do we get back up? Because the world keeps turning. Why do we keep getting up? Because our role is to be of service to others. Sometimes the pain can be so extreme that it's difficult to get up. That the events can be so unfair that they take our very breath away. If you've had one of those times, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you went through that. We still come back to the fact, what are your choices? Your lungs inhale another breath, your heart beats another beat. You produce hormones. There is always joy to be found somewhere. It's like, when you used to go to the beach, or you still go to the beach, and you turn over the rocks looking for those interesting things that hide under rocks, perhaps a crab or an interesting shell. There's always something interesting to find under a pebble in a pool. Perhaps we may be too hurt to marvel at that little shell found under the pebble, and that's okay. Perhaps we can practice marveling. Perhaps we can practice turning over pebbles and enjoying what we find underneath those pebbles. Joy is found in the simple experiences. When we have those amazing experiences, when we perhaps fall in love or win a race or finish a degree or whatever it is, there is a heightened sense of self. There is a sense of agitation, like you ruffle the water and agitate water. We lose ourselves for a moment. It's part of life to want to achieve, to want to gain, to want to learn, to want to win, to want to battle in some situations. It is innate to the human being to want to surge, desire, wish, want. It's part of our sense of survival. But there's no joy to be found under the pebble of desire. There is simply a future moment that has not been realized and may not be realized. I live in a beautiful place at the moment, and I'm looking out and I can see the shadow of clouds moving across the hills, and I enjoy it so much. I can't stop looking at it and enjoying it. The shape of the hills is almost like human beings cradling each other, lying in the sun, laughing. There's so many visions I can see in these hills. At the same time, I experience loss. Where am I going to choose to point my mind? Will I point it towards the joy of the hills or the pain of loss? It's not about denying the loss. It's not about ignoring the loss. It's like when you pour a glass of cordial and water. Do we focus on the concentrate of the cordial or the pleasure of the hydration of the final drink, the experience of hydration? No Instagram phrase will fix our lives. No Instagram phrase will give us the cure to the complexity of human relationships. The cure to the complexity of human relationships is our ability to pause in the moment and enjoy the hills and the shadows on the hills. Wisdom is found in the silence between the words. Joy is found in the solace of self. There is beauty to be found in every sentiment. Sometimes the beauty is only to be found retrospectively, and we can still experience sentiment retrospectively. Look back on an event and say, I was really lucky to go through that experience, and we can relive it in our mind. We have this amazing miracle of a tool, and it's our mind. It can bring us down, or it can carry us into joy. We manage our mind through practice and skill, not through chance. Practice, skill, repeat. Practice, skill, repeat. I wish you well. I wish you the solace of silence, the pause in language and communication, and the ability to stand away from need and to say, I am enough, I have enough, I will be enough.